Hey, what's up, phone lovers? Welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast for the week of March 25th, 2015. I'm Joe Fidua.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Chris Chavez.
And I am Kevin Kraus. What's going on?
The smooth, jazzy radio and introduction there for Chris. You're listening to Soft Rock K Jazz 102.5.
Thank you. Thank you
I
for
like it.
watching. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so really light week right now, actually, and I think it's kind of a lull after all the big flagship stuff has been happening. Reviews have been coming out for the HTC One M9.
International reviews.
International reviews, yes. So ours has not come out because we're here in the U.S., but that will be coming soon. So it's kind of a lull between all the review madness, but there is some cool things that we can talk about.
Well, can we talk about that for just a second? The
Yeah.
HTC One M9 reviews. I guess just our general reaction to what we've heard so far. Not making any specific comments about the One M9 because we haven't reviewed that yet. Wink.
Are we allowed to talk about it? Are we allowed to talk about that? We can't talk about it. Are we allowed to?
Let's just talk about the reviews, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, the reviews have been really actually consistent, which is not always the case with reviews, and they've been really consistent about just saying, well, it's weird. I'll say, okay, so when you read the text of the reviews, they kind of all say, well, it's not that big of an update, yada yada yada. But then you get down to the score, the sites that have scores, and the scores are all still really good. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, the commentary or whatever doesn't. I mean, you would think it would match up with the scores, and so I don't know. It's kind of weird like that. You're right.
I've seen a range of again the scores, but yeah, I think they all are generally like on a scale of 1 to 10, at least all 8 to right around the 8 mark, I think, which is
right.
Good.
Yeah. So it's a good. I haven't really compared them with last year's the One M8, but I would say it's about the same as the One M8 was really.
Yeah, I saw
which
the
fits
most
the narrative.
the most damning one I saw said that the One M8 is still a better phone than the One M9. So,
yeah, I've seen a couple of those because it's it's a mishmash. They upgraded some stuff and they changed some things, but some people preferred the way it was on the One M8, and it's just it sucks. Honestly, I feel like the One M9 is kind of a train wreck at this point.
I don't know. I think people are giving its camera a really hard time. I've seen people straight up just trash it and not even.
Yeah.
The general consensus seems to be the images suck. The camera software is pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've seen too. That'll be interesting. We'll be able to talk about more about that next week after we have some time.
But yeah, I think that's the main thing. The people that are disappointed in the camera, which is kind of bad for HTC since they abandoned ultra pixel and they went to just a standard high megapixel camera, and it's not working out so well for them.
I mean, in HTC's defense, not even their defense, but really they've never had a good camera ever. You think back on every single one of their phones, their camera has always received low points. Every single I can't even tell you since back in the G1, the HTC Evo maybe they were all really terrible. That's always been the thing with them. It's just always been their camera sucks. The quality just doesn't work out right, and I don't know what it is. And they upgraded to the same Sony sensor, so it's all a software thing, and it's a software thing they just can't seem to nail down. And the One M8, I thought the ultra pixels was cool. Yeah, it was 4 megapixels, but there was I never really shot stuff and said this doesn't look right. I mean, it was only if you zoom in and try to crop and all this other stuff that it wouldn't be as clear as some of these other phones. But I mean, 4 megapixels, the resolution on that is still 3000 by 2000 something. That's still higher resolution than anyone's phone or anyone's computer display. So it looked fine, and it did really well in low light. And I think that was the one thing it did excel in, was that it was really good in low light versus this new camera, which pretty much just sucks all the way across the board. It does nothing really well at all.
Yeah.
But it's high resolution. It's 2500 megapixels or something.
The one thing that was unanimous across the board is everyone still raves about the design. Obviously, some improvements. Some complaints still about some elements of it, but the design has been well received. But I think it's getting to a point where HTC, they're known for their design, but are they putting too much emphasis on the design and kind of ignoring other aspects of the phone? I mean, it's got a 1080p display. I mean, and that's neither. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
that's not that big of an issue that it's a 1080p display, but it seems like that's just like an oversight because even if you don't think having a 2K display is important for the end user, I mean, on paper it just doesn't look as good now that all these other phones are coming out with 2K display. So that's not saying it's not as good a display, or most people seem to not notice the difference. Most of the reviewers mentioned that they don't really notice the difference between the 1080p or if it was 2K, but still, I mean, it just seems like why not just throw it in there if you can? Everyone else is doing it, and it kind of makes your phone look a little.
If everyone else is jumping off a bridge, would you do it, Kevin?
Well, I'm
I
saying
mean-
when your phone looks almost identical to last year's model,
Exactly.
like you almost are obligated to change some things that make it seem more exciting and new, even if the benefit.
I don't
isn't
know
there.
though. I almost think that it looks the same is more of a reason why you can get away with it because it's like it looks the same, so people are expecting pretty much the same experience. And I don't know. I think they made the right decision on the 1080p. To be completely honest, most people, like you said, say they don't see the difference, and it probably helps battery life just a little bit more. You know, the average consumer is not gonna mind that it's not 2K, or even know that other phones are on 2K necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the whole point. It's like the reviewers or the critics or whatever, they're the ones that were kind of left sort of like unimpressed by the phone, simply because we're so used to being handed like all these brand new devices year after year that are completely different than last year's model and all this other stuff. But I think this phone is built around like the mainstream user, just the regular old Joe Schmo and soccer moms. They're gonna see this phone. It looks great. It's got a 21 megapixel camera on the back. That's gonna look awesome, and really great selfies. I think it was really built for those people and not necessarily critics.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I have noticed about reviews, which I think is almost a disservice to the M9, is that, and HTC set themselves up for this, but there's hardly a single review I've read that doesn't base the whole review. Mostly is just a lengthy comparison between the One M9 and the One M8. Like it doesn't really look at the One M9 as its own device on its own merits. It just everybody's
Yeah.
like, it's got this, the One M8 had that. It's got this. This is what the One M8 looked like. This is what the One M8's pictures looked like compared to the One M9. So I think that's kind of a disservice to the M9 because everyone's approaching it as comparing it to the One M8 instead of just observing it on its own merits. So I'm getting a chance to check it out, and I never really used the One M8, so I feel like I have a sort of good perspective to be able to look at it as its own phone. So I kind of like taking that approach.
Have you taken it out of the box? Have you played with it? Are you allowed to talk?
He doesn't
about
even have it, Chris. What are you talking about?
I don't have it, Chris, but I'm gonna review it.
it? Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, stay tuned next week. We'll be able to talk about it a lot more. So
Anyway,
We'll
sorry,
be
that kind of sidetracked us from our notes, but I thought it was worth.
yeah, that was a good thing to talk about. That was good. But yeah, other than the HTC One One M9 reviews coming out, there wasn't a whole lot of other news this week. So I thought do something a little different and kind of start out with a question for all of us. Yes, and this is based off something that I saw on TheVerge.com, which is a website. They wrote an article about the 5 apps that every smartphone needs to get right, and I thought that would be something interesting that we could talk about that you guys could weigh in on. Like, what are the 5 apps? And this is not like a deserted island type question, but the 5 apps that if you're gonna buy a phone, the 5 apps that need to be awesome and need to be done right for you to use the phone. We'll start with you, Chris.
Oh shoot! I mean, so this is like what, like the first 5 apps you install? Like you have to have
Well,
these
I
apps.
think to
necessarily.
clarify the question, like I read this article a little bit after Joe shared it with me, and they're not talking about specific apps; they're more services. What are like the 5?
Right.
specific
Yeah, it
services?
kind of is services too. So like camera, for example, the camera has to be great. And
Oh.
and like a specific, they need to have a social network that you use that works great. Stuff like that.
This is way over my head, man. I'm like,
No, it's not.
this is like philosophical. Are you guys talking about like what we? I don't even.
All right. Well, then, I mean, I can start off. If
Yeah,
there's-
Kevin could go. Chris's mind is being blown by a very
Like-
easy question.
Yeah, I don't know. So like, and I think I looked at theirs. I don't remember their list specifically, but I think mine's going to be pretty similar. I mean, obviously, I think camera is an important one. Not just good-looking photos, but a good camera app that works well. Um, email and messaging. I don't know if you would put those together or if they would be two separate apps, but I'm just thinking of the things that I use my phone for every day, and email's a big one. Messaging is another big one. Um, and that's kind of an issue really because I mean I don't use I think I'm spread between two messaging services at most. On iOS I use iMessage and I use Google Hangouts, but so I'm spread between two, but I still think having a good solid all-around messaging platform is good. I said camera, email. I'll put email as separate than messaging. So a good email app. Um, let's see, that's three. What do I need? I need two more. God, what do you use a phone for? Social. I guess a social network is important. But that's kind of a little more dicey because that's a specific thing. Then you have to like. There's no like app that's every social network. But
I mean, you can say if Twitter is just super important to you, just say Twitter. You know, we can
I
do
mean,
this however we want.
yeah.
I don't know what you guys are talking about at all.
If I had to pick one, I would say, and this kind of goes back to camera, but photos, like I would pick Instagram. That's the one social network that I think while they've kind of built out their web presence more, it's still very much a mobile-based social network. So
Surprised you didn't say Snapchat.
well, yeah, Snapchat's another one that's really important to me. So
Kind of like messaging, isn't it?
yeah, well, so yeah, messaging, Snapchat. So I think social is a big part of mobile. But then what else? I think maps are really important. Navigation
Oh,
is
that's a
super
good
important on
one.
a smartphone. Like I need a good navigation app. Um, and I guess web browsing is the last one, right? You need like a good web browser.
Yeah, that's true.
And web browsing could kind of encompass social networking if you consider social networking
Right. If you
websites,
had
right?
to, you could, access like Twitter on your web browser and stuff.
Yeah, totes.
Yeah, it's interesting. Preparing for this question, just kind of like thinking about what do I actually use my phone for the most, and I think far and away the app that I open the most often would probably end up being Twitter. I think pretty much every time I unlock my phone, I'm opening Twitter. So I'm not even going to say social network. I'm just going to nail it right down to Twitter. I need to have a Twitter app. And then camera for me is not super important. I feel like I can use almost any phone, and I think Chris notices things in camera quality a lot more than someone like I would. Like I could use, I don't know, what's a phone that didn't have a great camera? The Nexus 4 or something. I could probably have used,
HTC One M9.
I could use a phone like that and be perfectly fine with it. It wouldn't bother me that much. Um, so I do need a good camera app, but the software is definitely more important to me. So I need a camera app that works great. Um, and then Maps is huge for me, just because I think I mentioned on the show before, I'm really bad at navigation. So Maps is huge for me because when I used to have a Windows phone before Nokia Maps was available on non-Nokia devices, I had an HTC Windows phone, and like it was the worst trying to navigate around places. I realized how much I missed it. So a great navigation app is important for me. And then for messaging, I need a great messaging app. I personally use Facebook Messenger like all the time. That's the way that I communicate with my wife throughout the day when she's at work. And then lastly, I think I would do web browser too, just because, I mean, the internet.
You know what? I think I'm gonna jump back, and I gotta I don't know what I'm gonna take out, but I need to put in like a not necessarily a note-taking app, but the one thing I use on iOS that I just overlook because I use it a lot of times is just the reminders because I don't really keep a calendar with like specific dates in it, but I do set a lot of reminders either based on time or location, which are really important on my phone. And
Can you
that's
do
actually
that on iOS? Is that an
yeah,
iOS?
and that's like the only thing I use Siri for too. It's like when I need to remember something, I just go, "Yo, Siri, remind me to like email this person when I get home, or remind me to like take out the trash tonight."
Yeah.
Like.
I actually do that a lot too with Google Now, and I didn't include it in my top five, but because I think I could probably live without that if I had to. I don't know. That's tough.
Well, I think the reason I would pick it is because it is kind of, especially if you get to the location-based reminders, it's very smartphone specific. It's something that
Right.
like if you rely on something like that, you need something that works well to do that. So, I think I would put that in, and maybe I would take out a camera app because I don't do a lot of like hardcore photos. So like I can get by with a really kind of crappy camera app as long as it takes pictures, you know?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know if I should include email camera in mine. One that I left out, I'll say, is email. I hate email on my phone. Like I have email apps, but I can't remember the last time I actually composed an email or replied to an email on my
Oh
phone.
my gosh,
I
yes,
just
it's
don't
like
do
the
it.
worst. I mean, I like, yeah, that's.
I use Inbox, which I love because it doesn't show me half the emails that I
Yeah.
get.
I guess
While
I'm in
I'm
that
on my
same boat.
computer, I'll use Gmail and I'll see every single email. But when I'm on my phone, I don't want to see emails. So I love that.
Yeah, I kind of in the same boat. I like having it on my phone to get like the notification that I got the email, but then I'm always like, oh, you know what? I'll respond to that when I get home. Like, so yeah,
And I'm a crazy inbox zero person. I have to have zero unread emails at all times. So
Are you
if I see an
serious?
email, I'll always open it just to mark it as read because I'm really insane like that. I know a lot of people I've seen have inboxes that are just like packed full of emails, unread emails, and I
yeah,
can't stand that.
I
I'm
think I've
not
got
that
like
person.
6,000. I'm at 6,000 something right now.
Oh my God,
Dude, how can
that
you
would give
even know
me
when you have a new email at that point?
yeah that
I
would
mean,
give me
it
so much
sucks.
anxiety.
Well, at the 6,000 point, at that point, you're just like, F it. This is
Well,
out of
then
my
you look at
control.
it and it's like, well, wait, did I have 6,023 or was it 6,024? Is this a new one in
No,
here?
no,
I don't.
it's like on like iOS and stuff, the little ticker on top, it's maxed out at like 999. So like it won't even show above that. And then
In other
on
words, don't try to contact Chris by email because it's probably not going to respond to
oh
it.
my gosh, like it is out of control. Like it's a beast that cannot be tamed. Like I've really tried. And like
Sounds like your tabs.
for me, it's like how Joe, he likes to read he has to mark them all as read. But like for me, I like to not, because like they're highlighted. When they're red, they're like gray, and when they're not red, they're all bright white and stuff. So I use that as like highlighting. So if I read an important email, I'm like, I got to come back to this later. I'll mark it as unread.
That's why
So
you
that
can
this
set
way.
it. That's why like you can star it.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'll
Yeah.
star things, and then I use starred as like the first level of importance. And then if something is super, super important, then I will keep it as
Mark.
unread for a while.
See, there you go. Yeah, that's
But
how
I
I use
don't
it.
keep my entire inbox unread. That's what you're
Well,
doing.
no, I mean like some stuff I haven't read yet. I mean,
You
there's a
just do
lot
like
of.
that's like the
You know what you
opposite
need to
way.
do? You just need to say F it and highlight
Start.
everything and click mark as read and just start over and be like, if I miss something, I missed it. If it was important, they'll email me again.
Yeah, I did that once. I think it was like last year, and I got everything down to zero, and it was like I spent like a good couple of hours and just made everything marked as read and archive. What I want to do is archive. Like I think that's the next step for me. Like figure out how to archive things.
Now that's even crazy for me. I haven't archived anything in years.
Oh yeah, I see. That's to me that's real inbox zero is when you can archive all the crap
Yeah,
that you don't
I
need
don't
and
know.
then get that inbox to just nothing in there but important stuff.
Because I mean, if when you archive it, it's gone forever. And I do a lot of times like use a search in Gmail to find something from a while ago to
Yeah.
reference. So I
So
feel
it's
like if
still
I just
there.
leave things marked as read in my inbox, it's still accessible.
Even
We could probably
archiving
have an
it,
entire episode of
just
just talking about email because email is insane.
email habits. It's horrible.
It's
Yeah.
the worst thing in the future. The worst thing that has happened because of technology is email.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I can answer your guys' question. I kind of can. Okay, here's my thing. I need an app. I don't know. What are you guys talking about?
I'll simplify it for you, Chris.
Oh, okay, yeah.
First 5 apps you install on a new phone.
Oh, well, in that case, I need an application that I'm not sure what it's even called because on some phone, like the Droid, the Moto stuff, it comes already in there, and on Sony stuff, it comes in there. But like, I need a Do Not Disturb for like at night, where it automatically comes on at night. so I'm not disturbed like past 11 o'clock. Because my friends and everyone, my dad, he's up to like 2 a.m. sometimes, and he's messaging me, and it wakes me up from my sleep. So I definitely need to do not disturb. It's not built into every phone, but I need something like that. My camera app, I need to be able to adjust the saturation and contrast and all that stuff. I think that's my main thing with the camera app. Other than that, I don't know. It's Twitter. Twitter's really cool. Backing up my photos. I need to back up my photos and stuff. I think that's super crazy important. And Google Plus does that for now. That's kind of it.
Well, I want to hear from some of the listeners about this one. Be sure to leave a comment on YouTube or when we post this on Fandroid, or you can leave a comment right now. The questions are turned on for the live hangout. Let us know what your 5 most important apps/services are, and maybe we'll read them on the air if you get to us quickly.
If you don't understand the question, that's cool too. You could tell us.
Chris, you understand the question.
I'm pretty. I think our listeners are pretty smart. I think they could.
The oil. That's messed up.
I can't believe you just complimented them after this question we just got.
Kevin, are you? Wait. Oh, it's not even a question. Kevin, you are overgrown troll. Okay, see, if you put a question mark after something, it doesn't just automatically make it a question. This is a statement with a question mark on the end. Kevin, you are overgrown troll.
Well,
Kevin, are you an overgrown troll? I mean, that's what he's
well,
asking.
actually, no. I'm not, but
I think he's a pretty normal-sized troll, really.
Hey, can we read the email that we got from last week? Is that a...
No, we can't. Moving on. So, Chris, if people follow Chris on Twitter and this podcast, we've talked about the DROID Turbo before. Chris, why don't you fill us in on what's happening with the DROID Turbo right now? Why are you looking for back plates for the DROID Turbo?
I don't know, man. I got issues. I got some big problems. So, okay, so for 2015, my resolution was I need a phone. It was like my top.
The resolution was 720p. Whoa!
Feature. I need a phone that has good battery life. Like I can't live like this anymore. I can't live with like taking my phone off the charger in the morning, and then when I get off work, only having like 30% battery. That's no way to live. I don't think we should. And it's ridiculous. That's kind of what bothers me about the Galaxy S6.
It's worth
the
noting
HTC One M9.
that you don't leave your house for work, so...
Yeah, I mean, I could technically leave it in, but I could leave it plugged in, but I just hate, like, I feel so tied down, like the man, I don't, you know...
It's not really that good to leave your phone plugged in all the time.
Yeah, and that too, exactly, yeah, see, so, like, it's bad for your battery life, even worse, down the road, it's going to end up destroying your battery life, but, so I need something with a big battery, so the DROID Max, which I was in love with for a while. I thought it was great and everything until like now that 720p display has been like really, really getting to me. Like every time I look at it, I'm looking at pictures. They're like not that detailed. It's just everything is bothering me about 720p right now. So I decided to go back to the DROID Turbo, seeing how it's getting Android 5.1 like right around the corner, super duper soon. And almost regret returning it back when I had it, but I think I'm going to give it another shot because I've seen people tell me that their battery life is like through the roof crazy with like Lollipop and stuff. So I think I'm going to give it a shot. So I've been kind of like shopping around. I got to get rid of this DROID Max. And I got to sell all this other stuff too, but I'm shopping around for a DROID Turbo. I think I'm going to return to the DROID Turbo, and I think I should be okay with that for a while because the Snapdragon 810 ain't all that it's cracked up to be, and the battery life on these new flagships are kind of sucking. It's got a 2K display. It's got 3 GB RAM. I mean, it's got everything you could ask for. So I think I'll be okay with the DROID Turbo for a very long while.
Chris, when you reviewed the DROID Turbo, you said that the battery life was not as good as what they advertised, and that was why you stopped using it.
I think it was a glitch, honestly, like a glitch, or maybe it was like the 120 apps that I have installed on it.
I mean, can't be pleased, man, because I reviewed that phone too, and like the battery life is fine. Like it's better than
honestly. I think it is.
They advertised it, but it's like not any.
I remember exactly what Chris said, and you were saying that the battery life does get you through a day, but since it doesn't get you through 2 days, you still have to charge it every night anyway.
Oh, that's
So
a good
there was
point.
really no point to it. That was exactly what you said.
That's a good point too, I guess. I mean, I
Because
don't
what
even
good
know.
is it if a phone gives you 1.5? Because then your phone's just dying like at lunch the next day, and that's really no benefit to anyone.
Yeah, yeah. Don't talk me out of this. I think I'm gonna jump either way. I've already shopped around for it. I've already bid. I think a couple of my bids are gonna be ending soon on eBay. Oh, thanks. You reminded
Hashtag
me.
Turbo Watch 2015.
Oh, so here's something that's kind of crazy too that nobody really knows about, and I actually pinged Tim and I talked to the Droid Life guys about this yesterday. But apparently there was a gold employee edition Droid Turbo that nobody knows about. Apparently, according to eBay, the guy that's selling it on eBay, there's only 8 of them that were ever made, and it's got the gold buttons, it's got a gold earpiece, and it's got a gold ring around the camera on the back.
Did you bid
Um,
on it?
yeah, I thought wasn't going to be going for that high because it started out pretty low. It was like 300 for a while, and then now it's only got an hour left, and it's already at 580. And I don't think I'm going to go like to 600 for that. That's kind of pushing it. But it is limited edition. I mean, super limited. So I don't know. I don't think I'm going to go that high, but it's interesting because nobody knows about this phone, and it's like if you look online, you can't find it anywhere. But there's a couple of them on eBay. People are trying to sell them.
Drop the link. I don't know where you could drop it, but drop it somewhere so that we can include it, just so we can like share a picture of it, because I'd kind of be interested in seeing that too. It kind of sounds
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Unless it's just some guy who spray painted some parts of his DROID Turbo.
Yeah,
No,
and he only had
honestly,
enough
that's
paint
what
for 8 of them.
literally what I thought at first, but there's I've seen some more pictures of it and a couple more of them pop up, and I mean you look at it and you're like, okay, this is like legit. There's no way you could get that earpiece like that, like with nail polish or something.
Like a
But
couple weeks from now, same seller, eight more. Oh, only 8 of them.
they gotta go.
All right, so let's move on to some of our. We just got a few really quick news stories to talk about here. First things first, Peter Chou. He is out at HTC.
It is about damn time.
And Chris, you can say that you've met him, right?
I can say that I've met him, and I can say that what was it last week on the podcast we were talking about this, how like HTC is in like a bad need of like reshuffling, and they need to kind of get rid of some of these dumb execs that have been like. I mean, these are the guys that are responsible for this company bombing like year after year. It's not the consumers. I mean, you can't really I don't think you can even blame the competition. I think it's HTC has a great product, but there's just some things that they're just not really doing very well. And I think with Peter Chou out of there, I think they're better off, honestly. I don't know, but Cher Wang took over, and Cher Wang's a little loopy, just a little crazy, but hopefully she can change things.
What was
for
she
them.
doing before?
She was there like the second in command, so she was like their chairwoman or whatever, the president, or I forget what they
Why
call it.
why do you say that she's loopy?
Oh, because like in her, I don't know if you've seen her on video and stuff, but like she's hilarious. I mean, I guess the Peter Chow thing on the guitar was pretty funny, but I mean she comes out like singing and clapping, but just all the keynotes and stuff where she comes out and she's talking and stuff, she just seems very like out there, kind of strange lady.
Next up is Blue is making Cyanogen phones, I guess, in the future without Google services. And Blue is a smartphone maker based in Florida, actually, that makes some pretty nice low-end, mid-range phones. We talked about that after CES. They had a lot there. So I guess they're going to be making Cyanogen phones, and it's not going to have any Google services on them. It's going to have stuff from like Microsoft and I think even Nokia.
Opera is going to be their
Right.
default.
Opera,
browser.
yeah.
Bing is their default search.
Just
Blue makes
kind
some
of
good phones,
strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded like it was going to be a great idea. You're like, oh, it's going to have Cyanogen. That's awesome. Like, everyone's going to buy these phones, and it's like, oh, they're doing it to rip out all the Google stuff, and you're like, crap. Why?
But let's
Shot
be.
themselves in the foot.
I mean, you're going to be able to install all that stuff because Google separated most of that stuff out anyway. So it's like even if you got this phone, you could still install those services even if it's.
I mean,
Well,
you would have
is
to
it coming
sideload the
with
Play Store.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna say
Not
if
have the Play
it's
Store.
Yeah, so like, because I mean, it doesn't have Google certification on it or anything like that. So
Right.
if they don't have Google's approval, they can't get the Play Store. So you'd have to probably like sideload the Play Store or something.
Oh, you can do it.
there was a quote I just found that I saw yesterday that I thought kind of described the situation kind of funny. Cyanogen's new business model is dependent on the bloatware that users
Oh,
use to go to Cyanogen mod to escape, which is kind
yeah,
of true.
Yep.
very true. I mean, you're stuck with this stuff. I mean, really, they're alternatives. They're not really bloat. I guess bloat is having extra apps and stuff that you don't really need or want on your phone. But like these are going to be the default. And you need a web browser, so they're giving you Opera. You need messaging, so they're going to give you WhatsApp or something. I don't know.
All right, and then lastly, Google Glass is not dead.
For the last time.
Yeah, apparently a lot of Google people have been saying this, and I mean, yeah, it's not dead, but it's not terribly popular right now
But
either.
it's not alive either. It's
Yeah.
kind of like it's in zombie mode right now.
It's not quite Google Buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Google Reader. It hasn't been officially killed, but it's just kind of
So,
they're
I mean,
waiting. I mean, we're waiting for the next model, so there's not really a lot going on in Google Glass.
one of the Google execs said that it just got too much like attention was the problem.
It was overhyped. It died from its own hype. That's like
It literally did die from its own hype, and I mean like that initial video was awesome, and then when I first saw it, I was like, "There's no way Google Glass will be that cool," and it almost was.
I mean,
But,
Google is just as much to blame for that because when it was new, they were trying to get everyone to use it. I remember they would have all these
Yes.
things where they would give celebrities Google Glass, and like I remember they had NBA players wearing Google Glass, and like they were doing all this stuff to get Google Glass out in mainstream, and then now they're saying that it got too popular. Well, whose fault is that?
Yeah, they could have definitely taken the Project Aura route or something, which like nobody knows what Project Aura is, but like they didn't. They
shouldn't have held the public beta so quickly.
Honestly, yeah, I think that was the biggest problem. The public beta, and then I don't even know.
Maybe don't rely on like people who are now known as glass holes to promote your product.
Well, I mean, I think the problem was the dang price tag. So you have these people that are like kind of just, what is it? Just these douchebags with lots of money. They're buying them, and they're wearing them around, and then just like that's setting this weird, what is it? Like a class thing. Like it's just people are like, I can't afford them. They would be kind of cool if I could afford them. That guy must be a total douchebag because he's flaunting them on his face.
Yeah.
And like 95% of the people that were beta testers were, completely fine, nice people who would, gladly explain it to you if you asked them. But it was the small percentage of like kind of dicks that ruined it and gave that glass hole name to anyone that had Google Glass.
Definitely.
I mean, it was ultimately like a product that had like maybe tops like $300 functionality and $1,500 hardware.
That was the craziest part, was that every single time Google's like, well, this isn't the final price point. This is just kind of for this, test unit. But every single person you talk to, I mean, you can talk to anyone. Everyone's heard of Glass, and then you ask them like, oh, would you ever get one? And everyone's, oh, not for $1,500. It's like, well, that was never really the price on it. But people just assume that was the price. It was overpriced, and anyone that wears it must be a total douchebag. So it's just. Yeah, it got killed. It got killed by its own hype, really.
I am pretty interested though to see what the next model looks like.
Yes, because now they got that Fidel guy from Nest, Tony Fidel.
Yeah, Tony Fidel.
He's going to be making it, and he makes some pretty sexy stuff. He was like an ex-Apple dude, and they know how to make sexy things. So I'm super curious to see what they're going to do with it, and if they'll even kind of attack it the same way. If it's gonna. Maybe they'll focus more on just augmented reality. Maybe they'll focus more. Might just come back as like a completely just a virtual headset or something like that, a VR headset. I mean, who knows? We're not really sure yet, but exciting. I'm excited.
Chris, when is the last time that you actually put Google Glass on your face and went outside in public?
It's in my closet. It's in my
closet. I know, but when's the last time you actually wore it out in public?
Not that long ago. It was 6 months ago, maybe. 7 months ago. 7 months ago, and even then, like I felt really douchey. It's got such a bad like rap, so I can't even wear it out without feeling like someone's gonna just punch me in the back of the head and like.
Yeah. I'd say the real difference I noticed when I really noticed it was at CES this year, because CES last year glass was everywhere. This year you saw maybe like 2 or 3 people still holding on wearing glass, but last year like in 2020 in 2014 everyone was wearing glass. In 2013 there was hardly anyone wearing
Yeah, it
glass.
was like regular. It was a regular like tech press and like journalists. They were wearing them and stuff. You'd see them every now and again. But then this year, it was just like those diehard Android fanboy nerds that looked all greasy and stuff, and they were still wearing it. And they just it wasn't even powered on. They were just wearing it like a badge of
Yeah,
honor or
the weird
something.
thing for me is I feel like I used to see so much stuff about Google Glass, and then Android Wear came out, and I feel like a lot
Yeah,
of the Glass users just started using smartwatches.
yeah, because I mean it was super helpful, and there was an overlap there of like bringing notifications to you without having to take out your phone. I mean that's what Android would kind of accomplishes. So it was always interesting when they talked about like making a smartwatch and doing all that stuff. I was like, that sounds a lot like Google Glass, and like who's gonna? And it's way cheaper. I mean they were like, I don't know. I think it was a bad strategy on Google's part
Yeah.
to kind of set it up for disaster.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to our wins and fails of the week.
Wait
Sound
for
effect.
it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, that's good.
Excellent. All right,
Alright.
Kevin, what do you got?
Okay, so my first one is kind of a small thing, but something that I will appreciate, and I think a lot of people appreciate. In iOS 8.3 for iPhone users out there, which is the next update coming out. It's in beta, um, and I think Apple just released a new beta for it recently. But they're gonna start doing some more customizations for the iTunes App Store that I think a lot of people will appreciate. You won't have to now when you buy an app or download an app from the App Store, whether it's paid or free, you have to enter your password, or if you use Touch ID, you can use your Touch ID. But in the next update, it's a small option that you can change, but you can change it so that you won't have to put in a password for free apps, which I think I appreciate that because I get it why you'd want a password for paid apps. You don't want the little baby taken out, if you have a small child or something. I have a nephew who always plays with my phone. I don't want him going into the App Store and downloading a bunch of paid apps and downloading a bunch of freemium stuff. But if he goes and accidentally downloads a free app, the worst that happens is I have to delete the app. And it's more convenient for me because I grab free apps all the time because they're free and they're just easy to get. And it's just one less step. So that's a small thing, but I think it's kind of a win. I like the option.
Huge win.
For my fail, it won't sound like a fail at first, but I'll explain why. The LG G Flex 2 is getting a wider launch. It's coming out in more regions. It's coming out in the US, which is cool. I think that's great. It's LG's latest flagship phone. But the reason I'm going to call this a fail is because everything we've seen of the LG G4 looks to be an even more improved version of what the G Flex 2 already is. So I think they might be cannibalizing some of their own sales by releasing this so widely, especially in the US, where you'd expect the LG G4 to kind of fill this slot in the market. So again, not a huge fail, but to me that's kind of a fail. Rarely will I say releasing a phone more widely as a fail, but in this case, I think they might be setting themselves up to hurt their G4's impact when it does
I mean,
come
the
out.
reviews for it were really bad too. Like I got some pretty bad reviews as far as like performance goes and everything. And yeah, that phone is just not good. Not good at all.
What, the G Flex 2 or the
G Flex 2.
Okay. All right, so my win of the week is gonna be X-Files. X-Files is coming back.
Woo!
Fox gonna have 6 new episodes. So original cast, Fox, Mulder, Scully, they're gonna be there. Kind of cool. I've watched, I don't know, maybe half a dozen episodes on Netflix, and I like it. I never watched it when it was actually
What? When it aired on Fox?
yeah, I never watched it when it was airing.
Kid? You're too
Um,
young. No, yeah, you're probably too young.
I'm not like 40 years old like you, Chris.
You're way too young.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that'll be cool. I'll probably watch it just because I like sci-fi stuff like that. So
Yeah,
and it's just crazy how many shows are getting I mean, not really reboot because they're not remaking it; they're just adding on. But
Yeah.
what was that show that Netflix picked up that they're gonna continue?
Well, they had Arrested Development.
Oh right, yep, Arrested Development, and then Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
Happy Days? Happy Days.
And then there's other shows. TBS they picked up the last season of Cougar Town, and Yahoo picked up the last season of Community and stuff like that. It's kind of cool to see.
It's kind of cool.
Like a show dies, and then hey, someone else picks it up, and you can continue watching.
I hate when a show dies prematurely. Like they didn't even get like a season finale or anything weird like that, and then it just dies. But
does anyone remember the show
Pushing Daisies? Pushing Up Daisies? I wish they would.
Pushing Daisies was a good show.
Yeah, I wish they'd bring that back.
But does anyone remember the show Jericho?
I do remember it. I think I watched like the first couple episodes of it because I think it started coming on like right when Lost was ending, and I think they I don't know.
Yeah, I loved that show so much. That's like my Firefly. A lot of people are so upset about Firefly. My Firefly is Jericho. I was super into that show, and then it actually was canceled after the first season. But then so many fans were mad that they actually had another season after that, but it was real crappy. So
yeah. I think it's cool. I mean, we live in an era where with these streaming services and all this binge watching, like not only can older shows get a new following to like reignite interest in getting these series, but now we have the platforms to distribute them to more niche audiences to make it more economically feasible. You don't have to have a big network taking up their prime time slot to show a show that not everybody wants to see, but there's certainly a market out there. I'm excited. They're supposedly coming out with new episodes of Twin Peaks on Showtime, but apparently they might be canceling it now because they haven't.
I've never watched that show. One of my friends is a huge fan of that show and always wants me to watch it. Is it really good?
Yeah, I mean, if you're into like kind of weird stuff, it's very weird and experimental at times. But I got sucked in. Like I binged it, and I didn't watch it till recently, but I binged it in like just a couple weeks, and I was
check that out.
Super stoked to see some new episodes.
All right, so my fail of the week is a new security smart lock feature in Lollipop called on-body detection. So I guess this feature, when you enable it in Lollipop, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm a little confused about why anyone would want to use this. So when your phone is in your pocket, it detects that it's on your body, and it's removes any type of passcode pattern lock that you have. But then if you like leave it on a table or something and walk away, since it detects that it's not on your body anymore, and then it locks. Is that correct? Yes, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
Very, very correct.
So I just wanted to make sure I got that. I think that's really not. I guess I don't understand why anyone would use it. It's because so if someone grabs my phone, I set my phone on a counter or a table somewhere, someone grabs my phone, all they have to do is just like basically put it in their pocket or hold it and move around, and it's going to detect that it's on a body and unlock.
Oh, I didn't think about that. No, I think it like once it does that initial locks it down. I think even if you put it back on your pocket and you're walking around with it, it's still locked until you enter your password again. And then once you enter your password, it'll stay unlocked if it detects movement, if it's in your pocket, if it's on your body, it'll stay unlocked for like a lot longer period of time. It's almost like a delayed lock. I would kind of put it more like that. But I don't think the guy's going to be able to get it and put it in his pocket.
It doesn't unlock the device. It just leaves it unlocked if it's already unlocked.
Once you unlock it and you put your passcode in, you unlock it. I think it leaves it unlocked for like a greater period of time while it detects that it's on you. But at any point, So I mean, it's not 100% like this foolproof security method. It's just more of like a convenience thing. So you don't have to every time you have to. This is why people don't put passcodes, because every time they pull their phone out of their pocket, they check a notification or do whatever. They gotta enter their passcode in. They gotta put it in the little swipey things, or whatever, the swipe passcode and pattern unlock. Now you don't have to do that. It's actually pretty cool. I think it's awesome.
Here's a quick tip that I'll give anyone that uses Lollipop. If you ever want to just quickly lock your phone, so right now my watch is connected, so when I unlock it, you don't see any pattern lock. But if you want to lock it quickly, you can tap this little lock icon down here, and then it says device will stay locked until you manually unlocked. So if you wanted to set it on a counter or a table somewhere and there were people around, you didn't want them to mess with your phone, you could actually just tap that little lock icon and it would lock it until you unlock it the next time.
What? Is that
pro tip?
That's kind of awesome. I didn't even know. What are you talking about? Where's
It's lolly. Do you have a lollipop device? No, you don't, because you're using like 2-year-old phones right now.
Hey, Lollipop Moto X.
All right, so test it out. It works, doesn't it?
Okay. What do? I unlock it and then I
See the
press.
little icon at the very bottom in the middle.
Yeah.
You tap that.
Okay. It's just jiggling. My thing just jiggles.
Do you have a pattern lock or passcode on right now?
Oh no, I don't.
Okay, well then there you go. That's why it's not working.
Oh. So you got to set that first, and you got to turn that off, and then if you want to, you can just turn it on just from the lock screen.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. I like that.
All right, Chris, what's your win and fail of the week?
My win for the week. Oh, there's kind of two wins, but one of them was the HTC Re was $100 the other day on Best Buy. I don't know if you guys ended up picking it up.
You got another one?
Yeah, I got the white one now.
What did you do
And then
with
I'm
the other
selling.
one?
Give me your other one.
I'm selling that other one for like $40. I sold it
Dude,
to my
really?
friend
I'll buy
already.
it.
Yeah, I already sold it to him though.
God damn it, Chris.
I was actually supposed to mail it like on Sunday, but I didn't get around to it, and he's messaging me like, "Dude, what's going on?" But
If that went down to like $50, I would buy that so fast. 99 is a little bit more because I don't think I'd use it a lot. But if it was like $50, I would buy it really fast.
It's like an impulse buy practically. Yeah, so like I mean, basically that's how much it was for me because I'm selling the old one, bought the new one. So
Exactly.
I don't have
You
that.
really did hate that orangish color, didn't you?
Gosh, more than anything, it wasn't orange enough. It wasn't pink enough. It was just this, right in between. So my other win for the week is going to be these DROID Turbo back cases. So one of my complaints with the 64 gigabyte version of the DROID Turbo was that it only came in that stupid backpack nylon. I forget what they even call it. Nylon Kevlar, whatever. So it was that weird backpack material. And when I had my original DROID Turbo, it was starting to fray. It would get caught on things. I mean, it was a terrible, terrible idea. It kind of looked cool, I'll give it that, but it was just really, really bad because it was just, I don't know, terrible idea. So I found out while I was looking for DROID Turbos, I found a broken one with a broken display. I went online looking for a new front assembly so that I can repair it myself and all this stuff, and then I found out that they sell the DROID Turbo back cases. So you can get a 64 gigabyte version. You can pop off that back case. It's actually pretty easy to do. I saw this whole tutorial online, whatever, like a teardown. And then you can buy the red soft touch back for the 32 gigabyte version, or you can buy the black version and stick that on there, which is thinner than that stupid nylon back, and it looks better. It's soft touch, doesn't get all frayed and ugly. So something to consider if you guys got a DROID Turbo 64 gigabyte version and you want it to look more svelte. And my fail for the week is going to be these Chinese phones. So there's been a couple of leaks. Oppo planted their own leaks or whatever. They leaked their own leak of some new phone that they got coming out, and it's got no bezels on the sides, which sounds cool. But apparently this is like a trend in China because the Meizu MX4 had virtually just very small bezels along the side, and then there was another leak of some other phone called the Le TV phone. Le TV Superphone X900, and that phone, again, another phone, has no bezels on the side, and then now they got this Oppo phone which uses like light refraction on the edges to make it seem like it's completely edge to edge, which is cool. It's cool because if you're a Chinese manufacturer, you can't really get a hold of like flexible OLED displays. I mean, Samsung and LG are kind of, their resources are limited and they're kind of using it for their own phones right now. But so these Chinese manufacturers have to kind of get creative with smartphone design. So this is the route they're kind of going, which I think is stupid because what they should be doing is trying to eliminate the top and bottom bezels, not the side. Nobody in the world has ever said the side bezels on their phone looked ugly because they're so small. No one even notices them. But the top and bottom bezel on your phone is ugly and is an eyesore, and it does prevent you from reaching your thumb all the way up and grabbing notification bars and all that stuff. So I think that's where they should have been focusing more or less, not this stupid side bezel things. But I will admit, it does look pretty cool, though. It does look really cool.
Yeah, it does.
Very, very sexy. Super sexy.
You're just saying that to irritate Kevin now.
Yeah.
I don't. Whatever.
All right, let's move on to our app picks.
Okay. Mine is going to be layout. It's going to be layout by Instagram. It really actually surprises me that it took Instagram this long to get in on this action because I mean people have been
Yeah.
using PicStitch and all these other apps forever to kind of do these multi-part Instagram collage posts. So Instagram has finally said, you know what, we're going to do it on our own. So they came out with this app called Layout, which pretty much lets you do exactly what these other apps have done before. You can now take 2 or 3 or however many photos and stitch them together to make a collage for one single Instagram post. The app's called
Why?
Layout. It's out for iOS
Sorry.
now, and it's coming out for Android soon, I think.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, why is this a separate app?
Yeah, why?
Yeah,
Why
well,
didn't
that's
they
the
just
one
bundle
thing.
this
Like,
inside of Instagram?
that's like the same thing I would say about hyperlapse too. Like, why
Yeah.
isn't hyperlapse just not built into Instagram? Like, since that's where you're going to post your hyperlapse images so much, and I think less people use hyperlapse because it's a separate app. So, I think
By the
this should
way,
totally
hyperlapse, wasn't that supposed to be coming to Android?
No. They said
Yeah,
it
they
wasn't
couldn't.
possible.
Yeah, they couldn't make
Oh
it.
man, I really want that app.
Android APIs, yeah.
But layout for Instagram by Instagram is out. So I think it's cool if you want to
Yeah.
be all first partied up.
Because that's the thing. I feel like it should be part of the main app because when I used Windows Phone, I used Instagram app called SixTag, which is like still the best Instagram app I've ever used on any platform, and that had layout collages built right in, and
Yeah.
it's so incredibly handy.
Well, you have to remember who owns Instagram, and that's Facebook. And
Facebook, yeah, they love their separate apps.
They're hell bent on separating everything out into separate apps, which it makes some sense because I get it. Like, keep the core functionality simple, and then if people want extra stuff, they can get the extra stuff, but instead of making it all complicated in the app. But I don't know how complicated a layout stitcher would have been to add into the main app.
I
And
mean,
even like
they could have just made the app like just whatever regular, and then inside the app you can download like add-ons or something, and that should just be one of them. I mean, it just seems so weird.
Well, who knows?
I don't even like when people post collages on Instagram. It's like it's already a small square image, and then you break it into like 4 other images. It's just like,
I guess that's true. It's like
Sometimes-
Instagram, stop worrying about this stuff and give us higher resolution photos and like.
dear God, on Android.
Or they should make it like this is what my thing was. They should make it like Facebook, whatever, where you click an image and then you can see it like it in full screen, and then you can swipe left or right if there's more for that specific post. That would just be freaking awesome, and then you can just get rid of these stupid collages altogether.
That's a good point. My app pick is a game called Jelly Jump, and kind of hard to describe, but it's just addicting type game.
Jumping game.
Addictive, sorry. Jumping game where you're like this little square and you're on a platform and you have to jump to the next platform, which is closing like this, and you're below it. So you have to time your jump so that you jump up and then the platform closes and then you can land on it. So if you do it too fast, you'll fall through. You do it too slow, you'll be crunched with the platform. It's fun. It's pretty easy and it's free. So just a simple app. I think it's only for Android, but if you're looking to kill some time, it's worth a download.
Sounds terrible. I'm gonna- we'll go with
Sexy.
my app pick. So my app pick is a brand new, kind of like a video service. It's called VidAngel. It's been out.
Porno service.
Sounds
Vid-
terrible.
Doesn't it kind of sound okay? Whatever. This is actually the exact opposite of like a porn service, though, because what it is it's like a it came out initially as like a Chrome extension, and then they had it on other stuff too. But what it does is it censors any video, any movie, it'll censor it for you. So if there's a lot of cuss words, it'll censor out all the cuss words. If there's like grotesque violence or something like that, you could have it edit out that too. It's got these little buttons that you can press, and just you can decide how much censoring you want to do. So it's kind of awesome because there's a lot of really good movies out there, and sometimes if I'm like at my parents' house or something, my parents don't watch a lot of movies because one cuss word is all it takes, and they'll flip out and they'll just turn it off completely because they're super conservative and religious. So VidAngel is great because you can pretty much take The Godfather, for instance, and
How
you
does it
can.
do it?
Yeah, how does
So
it do it?
what it
That's
does
crazy.
is it's got like a community of people that watch all these new movies, and these guys go in
Mm,
and they mark specific places. So it'll just mute out those specific things.
I see.
Now it's kind of weird because the Chrome app was the Chrome extension was kind of cool because it would do it through Google Play Movies. So anything that you rented on Google Play Movies, it knew exactly when to mute it out, so it would mute it out and um, edit out some of those other things. But on the Android app, it's a little bit different. I'm not sure how exactly they're doing it, but it's weird because I was reading the directions on it. Basically, you buy the full movie for like $20 or $15, and then for every day you have it, you lose that in a refund. So they take like $2 out of a refund. So potentially you could just, if you don't return it, you could have it forever for like $15 or whatever. But once you do return it, they refund you that full amount minus like $2 per day or something like that. So it's kind of like you're renting it, but you're not, and you kind of are, and it's
Weird.
a little bit weird. I
So
guess.
they're actually selling their own movies now?
So they're kind of, yeah, in a way they're kind of selling their own movies. It's weird. I'm not exactly sure how they're doing it because I was going to test it out and I was going to write up a post on it, but that's just how I know their pricing model goes, which is a little bit odd, and I'm guessing that's like their workaround for getting these edited out versions of their movies out. But it's pretty neat, especially if you have like little kids or something. Say maybe you want to watch some movie that's got a lot of cursing in it or something, and you got kids around. Like there's so many movies I can't watch, like when my cousin's over because she's like 10, and I just like I really have to wait and not watch it yet. I will watch it later, but it's awesome. It's great.
my mom used to edit out stuff from VHS tapes, like actually edit it herself. I remember we had Jurassic Park, and I had like, I was old enough to watch it, but I have two younger sisters who weren't. It's a pretty scary movie if you're really little, and so some of the more like graphic parts were edited out on our VHS.
Gosh.
It's kind of funny.
That's funny. My parents would never.
I just download an extension.
Yeah, like my parents were never. They were all about just they hate the cussing. They like that's just unacceptable. That and then like any kind of like sexual stuff, nudity or anything like that. But violence. I saw a guy like I used to watch Cyborg with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I saw this guy getting his head jammed in with like a pole, and they're like they're cool with that. Like that's fine. A little violence.
My mom wouldn't even have known how to use a VCR back then to do that.
I wouldn't even know how to do that now. I'm impressed.
That's pretty impressive. To be honest.
Yeah.
Man. And it's funny. That's good old moms. You guys see the internet meme where like the mom is like covering the TV with like a blanket because there was like a nude scene? Guy's like 25 years old or something. It was freaking hilarious.
That should be a new segment on our podcast. Hey guys, did you see that internet meme?
There's always a new one. Right now it's that Mexican guy cracking up. That guy's hilarious.
I'll have to look that up. You'll have to send me that.
All right, so we did get someone who weighed in on their 5 apps. Is Quadwo Bodu. Probably said that horrible, but you know who you are. He says, for me, it is Bible app, Chrome browser, Blink feed for all news and social network, camera, and maps. That's cool. If you use Blink feed, you can get all your social stuff in one.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, Blink feed's actually pretty dang useful for that. It's actually kind of cool.
So if anyone else wants to let us know the 5 apps that they have to have on their phone, 5 apps or services, let us know. Yep. You can tweet at us, which I will give in a second, or leave comments. But I think that's going to wrap up for this week. Like I said, if you want to get in touch with us, you can use our email address, podcast@mobileroar.com. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on Stitcher Radio and iTunes. And then you can tweet at us individually. Chris is at GamerCore, Kevin is at You Don't Know Kev, and I am at Tall Schmo. And the show has a Twitter account also, which is at MobileRoarCast, all one word. And we will see you guys next week, same time, same place. Later.